Merch Minds Podcast, episode 87. Special guest today, and Young is a little sick.
Dude, is this twice in 1 year? Wasn't I telling you earlier this year, man, that like I haven't had a common cold in like over 10 years?
Yeah, it's been
And
a while.
twice in 1 year now, man. My throat's all jacked up. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm coughing up a storm. I don't know, man.
Anything you
But
can
yeah.
remember, like people being sick at the office or going outside and it was like
No,
randomly cold and then hot, or
oh, man, it's been super nice here. I do remember Monday my throat was definitely scratchy. Uh by yesterday, I was just sick, man. And my boss probably thinks I'm dicking around because I wasn't in the office last week because I was at VidCon, and here I am calling in sick. So she's probably think I'm over here dicking around, but the bottom line is I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm in fact I shouldn't be doing the podcast right now, man. But I'm sacrificing my health for you guys.
that's full dedicate. That's why we have you and we pay you the big bucks to be on this podcast. It's because of things like this.
Well, first of all, I haven't seen any big bucks from the damn podcast. But again, this is just the type of things that we do for the merch community. We sacrifice our health and body to put out a show for your benefit.
Yes, very, very true. And so since you've been sick, have you been working on merch at all or taking it a little easy or what?
Hell yeah, I've been working on merch, man. I uploaded like 100 designs last night. True, man. I uploaded like 100. It was that week that I was traveling. I didn't do anything, but yeah, last night I uploaded about 100 designs. Um, I'll be honest with you. Um, after this show, I'm taking a damn nap. So I don't know if I'll get anything done tonight, but I'll try to get some stuff done over the weekend.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about merch news.
There is no merch news.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about merch numbers?
We'll talk merch numbers. I'll start off. Last 7 days, 102 shirts sold. Product purchases, $1,954.46. Estimated royalties, $437.98, and 5 returns.
And so in my case,
Uh-oh, you laughing? What happened?
oh man, two things.
Did you get suspended again?
No. 137 products sold. 13 returns.
Oh.
So my royalties $406.33, and it was better maybe about 3 or 4 days. I mean, yesterday I still sold I think I sold 21 shirts. But these returns, I'm like, man. I mean, because the highest I saw it was at 10. Now we're at 13. I was hoping the 10 was just kind of like immediately after the Father's Day thing is going to go down. Instead, it's gone up. So now I'm at 13 returns.
What kind of returns are you getting? Are these like for just evergreen designs? The reason I'm asking is this because someone, I think it was last week, they responded a Father's Day T-shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my head, my thinking was that's a little strange, okay? Because someone clearly bought that shirt for their father.
Yeah.
Do you then say, no, I'm no longer going to give you the shirt. I'm going to return it.
Unless it just didn't fit,
I don't know.
the dad that wanted it. But yeah, some of them, let me see, they are Father's Day. At least, yep, here's another Father's Day. Here's another one. For the most part I can see, they're still Father's Day.
Wow.
Shirts that are the most ones that are being returned. So
Mhm.
yeah, maybe the end of the month. I mean, we already are 29, so maybe next 2-3 days, maybe it'll go down a little bit. Maybe the fathers will keep their shirts.
Are you selling Popsockets? I
Yes,
know
I
you
am.
uploaded designs, but are they selling?
Only the ones that I sold last time. I haven't sold any since then. But then again, I was so riled up and pumped for the Popsockets and to get more designs in. Here's the second thing I was going to tell you. To get Popsockets into the designs, right?
Mhm.
Since the last podcast, remember how we talked about the merch news as far as like what type of keywords you're gonna put in your descriptions. And you told me, you know what, I'm not gonna risk putting the word shirt
I'm not.
in my bullet points. You know what I mean? You know how you told me that?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, the word shirt, I don't know. That's really, 100% blah, blah, blah. But I went back to older shirts like beginning to somewhat mid 2017. And I noticed that there was a decent amount of shirts that had very, very small wording about fit, feel type of stuff for the shirts. And I also
Stuff
had,
that you wrote.
yeah, and I also had, about like men's or women's or youth sizes and things like that. Now, it didn't say anything specifically about that as far as like you can't use it, but I know that, of course, if your men's shirt is not in stock and you say that it's available in men's, but it ends up not being in men's,
It
who
piss off a
knows?
lot
It
of
could be
customers.
counted against you. I don't know everything about the whole side of it. So I was like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go through them. So it pretty much was broken down into the second half of all my newer shirts, which was about 1,400 of them, were fine. But the
Okay.
other 1,100 of them, I have to go and manually change those. And I think I have like 600 left to change.
Damn. Damn.
So
Uh-huh.
that's my update.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to upload Popsockets even though I was riled up because I have to edit these first. This is like my main thing now,
Right.
to make sure I get that done
Right.
because I don't want that link on me.
Well, I've been uploading pop sockets, and they're relatively slowly selling. In fact, I just sold one right before we got on the show. Um, so they're selling. I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad we have them. And you know what? It's like I said last week. I'm selling more pop sockets than any long sleeves, hoodies, or sweatshirts that I have in stock.
Yeah.
So apparently they're obviously selling. Um, so that's good, man. So I went in and I removed premium from all my titles.
Okay.
Okay, for all my premium T-shirts, I removed that. Now, from my understanding, in the title, you can still have T-shirt, pullover, hoodie, sweatshirt,
Okay.
right? You just can't have the word premium.
Yeah.
So I went in and removed premium from other titles. Let's see what else. Someone asked me about merch collab, so I was approved. Okay, I
Okay.
was approved, but I have an email from them here. Let me see what the email says. So basically, the email says they can't find my Seller Central account. Um, so they're working on fixing that. So even though I was approved, for some reason they're having a difficult time locating my Seller Central account.
Okay.
I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
that's kind of weird.
So I'm just waiting on them to fix whatever problem that they're having on their end. I emailed them and she said, "Oh, it'll take a couple of days." But it's been more than a couple of days, so
Yeah.
maybe I should just email them back, or maybe I should just log into my Solar Central account, see if I see anything. Um, but because when I was talking to Eric, he said everything's done through the Solar Central account.
Oh, okay. Which kind of
Uh,
makes sense, and which we kind of talked about before how it might end up just going there in general at some
yeah,
point, but I mean, it makes sense.
you know what? I'm just gonna have to talk to Eric because I wouldn't even know where to go in the Solar Central account.
Hmm.
So I'll talk to Eric, but yeah, they were having some issues locating my Solar Central account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because someone was asking me, they're like, "Hey, how's collab working out for you?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know, because I got this email. They're having a difficult time locating my account or something." So other than that, guys, we don't really have that much news. I know it's Fourth of July weekend next week. You said you're driving to Austin.
Yeah, so I'll be in and out of town, just different.
Okay,
Starting to get
so
everything together.
so next week's episode we're gonna have to, because we normally record on Fridays,
Yeah.
but because we're both gonna be out of town, we're gonna record on Monday, but the episode will still be out the following Monday.
Yeah.
So, just again, just things that we're doing to keep you guys happy as listeners. Yeah. So other than that, man, no significant merch news. Um,
Are you done editing, I guess, all the premium and or other words you needed to? You're pretty much done?
yeah, man. I told you, man. I went in and removed premium from all the titles.
Okay, very nice.
Took
Yeah.
me
I'm hoping I'll be done this weekend, but it's gonna take me a while.
it took me a couple hours, man. It took me a couple hours, but I'm finally done. um, you know what? Let's just get into the show because I'm about to lose my damn voice. So we talked to Teresa Rose this week. Teresa is a Pinterest queen, ninja, warrior, whatever you want to call her. She's an expert when it comes to Pinterest. We learned a lot in the interview, and it was very informational, very educational. I'm on board, man, because I really believe that we need to leverage some other way to generate traffic to our listings, especially with AMS gone. So let's talk to Teresa. We are talking to Teresa Rose. Finally, another female guest on the show.
Special guest.
Special guest, Teresa. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah. So where are you calling in from?
Where am I located? I'm in Iowa.
Oh, you're in Iowa. Nice.
Yeah, I'm a Midwest girl.
Nice. You have to excuse my voice today. I'm sick again. For some reason, this is like twice in 1 year that I've gotten a cold, and which is really unusual because I don't normally get sick. So
Yeah.
just excuse the voice. I kind of sound like Anthony right now without the cursing.
I'm sorry, that's too funny.
You're only laughing because it's true. Look, we
because I know.
Yeah, we love Anthony. He's our brother, but you're laughing because you know it's true. So Teresa, she is the Pinterest queen. She knows everything about Pinterest, and this is something that I want to learn more about because, like, we pretty much know that there's a lot of competition on merch Amazon now. AMS is dead, so we need to somehow think outside the box on how to drive traffic to our listings. So Teresa, welcome. First of all, go ahead and just give us a brief introduction about on yourself and your course to Pin Power Traffic. Please tell us.
Okay, well, I've been doing e-commerce for quite a long time now, for a while. So my early days was selling on eBay and selling stuff that I already had, and the reason for doing that was just so I could afford to live.
Mhm.
Okay, I needed to put brakes on the car. What am I going to do? Ways of getting extra money. Started selling my books on Amazon, and then after a while, I ran out of things to sell. I mean, I can only sell off so much of my stuff, and then you don't have any more. So I thought about it. I thought, you know what? I think I could probably buy some stuff maybe and sell it and put that together. Then I learned FBA and went into FBA. I did do Etsy as well. I was making stuff by hand, sitting at the kitchen table and sewing because I had some extra fabric. And I thought, well, let's use what we've got. I've got fabric. Let's sew it up, turn it into pillows or some kind of decorative items and sell them. And I did, sold every single one of them. So then I'm out of fabric. Now what? So I just kept going, and I realized I can do this, and I can do this during my, what time I have available to me, and started going further, got into Amazon FBA, started at the bottom, was just thrifting with whatever money I had, which was very little. I could finally, after several months, afford to start doing retail arbitrage because I couldn't even afford that like most people can.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, from there, went into wholesale. Began figuring out how to contact manufacturers from home, how to start talking to them. And that made life a lot easier because I live in farmland country. So we don't have all these retail stores like everyone else does. And so I had to do something as I tried to keep growing. And from there, I had a blog for years that I had been writing on, and there was a lot of traffic that was coming into that blog, and I couldn't figure out, where it was coming from. Also have a Shopify store. And in my early days of my Shopify store, I was creating digital products and selling them. So I was selling ebooks pretty successfully out of there. Simple PDFs out of the Shopify store, connect it to my blog, and the readers would go over there and buy stuff without a problem. So then I was trying to figure out, where is this traffic coming from? Because it can't all be Google with the Google algorithm changes that had happened. And I was looking in Google Analytics, and probably the majority of it was coming from Pinterest. There was one problem. I wasn't doing anything on Pinterest, so I had no idea how that was possible. So I began to investigate. I went over to Pinterest. I just typed in my domain name, and up came a bunch of images that were off of my blog. So what was happening is the readers were going to the blog, to the website. It's a WordPress website. And they started pinning stuff from these articles because they wanted to read it later. They wanted to save it. They wanted some place to keep it where they could find it. And that really woke me up, because I wasn't actively doing anything on Pinterest to promote that website. But there was all of these pins that were on there from everybody else. Everybody else was doing that. And I thought, okay, maybe I should pay attention to Pinterest to see what's going on. It's also going to maybe help solve that problem of how do we get the traffic into the Shopify stores. A lot of people like the idea of a Shopify store, but what they don't understand is it's a lot of work and energy put into driving the traffic in to the store. And for many people who have been selling on Amazon for years, they're used to being able to have all of these easy organic sales without having to do social media, without having to drive traffic in. They're used to that. They kind of get spoiled, in my opinion. Like Amazon sellers are a little bit spoiled, and they don't even know it.
I admit to that. I'm one of them.
That's what I feel like, is they don't understand how much work that Amazon puts into driving the traffic in. But now we're at a point with Amazon where we're going to have to start doing some of that ourselves. It's become real clear with Merch by Amazon, especially this last winter, back in January. That was brutal.
Yeah,
that was very hard.
And look, and when I was in Vegas a few weeks ago, and we had the opportunity to have a conversation with the people from Merch, they said it themselves. They said, look, the platform is saturated. There's a lot more people selling on Merch now, so our designs are getting lost. So we need to figure something. We need to figure something out. We need to drive traffic to our listings. And I remember watching the show with you and Anthony, and I wanted to have you on our show because, number one, we're just a better show, and number two, I just never really. I know of Pinterest. I have an account. I'll be honest with you. I've never used it. In fact, I just logged in and it says, "Do you want to upgrade to a business account for free?" Is that something that I should do? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And explain why, please.
Because you can get analytics.
Okay.
Those analytics are very, very important to help track what you're doing. Why put a lot of effort and energy into it unless you can track it? So that's your only way of tracking the results of Pinterest is through those analytics. Another reason is because you need the ads. If you want to run some sponsored pins or some ad campaigns, those are only available through a business account with Pinterest.
Okay. So why even give us the option? Why not just everyone have a business account?
Because most people who use Pinterest, the average Pinterest user, just use it for fun. They use it as a
that made me
search engine.
look dumb.
I mean, it's just like what you were doing. You didn't join Pinterest probably for the purpose of putting your business items on there. You were thinking, oh, I might do this for some research, some fun things that I want to find on my own.
Cute outfits.
Right. I mean, for me, it was social media. Like I said, I didn't even realize I had an account, and then I went on to Pinterest right before we went on air, and I realized I do have an account. Excuse me. So now it's again, I've never used Pinterest, but it's kind of like what Glenn said. Is Pinterest just pretty much just collecting articles and blogs and
Recipes
photos,
and
recipes, whatever, just anything on the internet, and then just saving that to my account?
Yep. So what it is it's called the Smart Feed. And the Smart Feed, it was introduced in 2014. Actually, that's wrong. Yeah, that's right. It was introduced in 2014. So Pinterest has only been around, it started in 2010. So it's what, 8 years old?
8 years old.
It's very young for being a social media site. And when it began, it started out as being like social media. And then in 2014, they started to introduce in the Smart Feed, which is basically a search engine with an algorithm. So now your keywords is what's most important on Pinterest. Whatever the Pinterest user types into that search bar is exactly the pins that are going to pull up. So we're now able to target people with our pins according to their interests. So if you think of Pinterest, it is a social media site technically. However, it really doesn't act the same way as any social media site out there. It's more similar to Google as a Google search engine. So if you can imagine the Google search engine, and now it's just all visual, and that's all you see is just visual. That's what we're talking about with Pinterest. It's a search and discovery site that is visual, and all you see are these pinned images or pictures. And people love that. They respond so well to the pictures, the images. And I think this is really the way that marketing is going for a lot of businesses, is they really need to pay attention to this kind of visual marketing. It really gets people's emotions, and it grabs their attention more so than just words.
No, I believe it. Yeah. No, because I agree, because every time I do a search like on Google, the first thing that I do when I get the results is go to images, because I want to see what I search for, and it sounds like Pinterest already does that for you. So, how many users are on Pinterest?
Oh, that I don't know. Probably millions, I'm sure.
Millions, and we're talking worldwide here, right?
Yeah. And it was started, one of the co-founders is Ben Silbermann. And an interesting story there is that Ben Silbermann is actually from Iowa originally. He's from West Des Moines, the Des Moines area, which is where I'm from, and I'm actually moving back there next month. His parents were the optometrists for my mom.
Oh,
years.
wow.
Had no idea of who their son was. That wasn't talked about publicly. So what happened is that Ben Silbermann, after he graduated from college, he went to work for Google. So he worked for Google for a long time, and then he came up with this idea of Pinterest. So he quit Google in order to start Pinterest. And now it makes sense to me why Pinterest is the way that it is, because he understands the back end of Google, and he wanted to take some elements of social media and just fuse it together, but just do all visual. To me, I think that's incredible. It's this concept that is just genius. And I wish I would have came up with this. This is a genius concept that he did. So when he introduced in the Smart Feed, what that means is the keywords is what picks up in the search engine the most. And people don't go there to talk to their friends or to write stuff about politics or their negative things that are happening or drama. They don't do that. They go there to relax, to get away from the negativity that's found on the other social media sites.
But you can have,
Very true.
But you can have friends or followers and stuff, right? On Pinterest?
Yep. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And a lot of times it's people you don't know. They're just interested in what you're interested in, or what you're showing to the public. So now there is a feed for your followers that's special that was just set up 2 months ago. But Pinterest released just 2 months ago in a huge interview that was done, and they publicly said that your followers makes up a very small percentage of the total number of people that sees your pins. They've been refining their algorithm to the point that it really depends on your keywords that you place in your pin description. There is keywords that need to be in your board, with your board titles and your board descriptions. All of that information, and even your profile, the keywords from all of those areas picks up in the smart feed along with the keywords within your pin description. And when you have all of those keywords everywhere, that's what tells Pinterest who to show your pin to.
I got you.
And so therefore it's really smart. It's a really, really smart, that's why
it sounds like a really powerful feature.
It's a smart search engine. So now what we're able to do is get highly targeted people. So if you're going to get people to follow you by doing it in this way and going through the keywords, we're able to get followers that are highly targeted. They have a genuine interest in what you have, what you're offering, and what you're showing. Okay, so to me, it's a much smarter way of working rather than trying to throw spaghetti up against the wall and see what will stick.
Which I've done many times, and it never sticks for me. It never does. Glenn, did you have any questions?
So I guess I wanted to get into some of the t-shirt type of, I mean, it looks like, I'm pretty sure you get this question a lot. Like if I pin, let's say, a photo of my shirt and my design, either one, I can, like you said, maybe have like a buyable pin or someone's going to buy it, it takes you there. Or they're going to save it and or looking for ideas or want to take my idea. I guess, which one do you get the most as far as questions go? And do you recommend doing that with Pinterest, like pinning like all my shirts or something to try to get it out there?
I would pin first, if you're gonna pin from Merch by Amazon, I would pin only the products that have had at least one sale. Don't pin your stuff that hasn't had one sale, because after now the rule is 180 days and then it falls off the cliff. Well, now you've got all of those pins to go track down and change the links on every single one of them.
Okay.
And no one, I think it's just a total waste of time to do that. So only pin your stuff that has had at least one sale, because then you know it's going to stay in your account.
Wait, you said after 180 days your pin will drop off?
No, your shirts, your products on Merch.
Oh, okay. I totally misunderstood you. I thought you meant the pin was going to drop off.
No, the pin is going to be out there for years.
Yeah, so forever, right?
That's the problem. They don't end. They have a life that spans years. But Merch by Amazon, their rule of 180 days, no sale, then boom, it's gone. So if you are linking your pin to your Merch by Amazon products, make sure that they have had at least one sale.
Totally makes sense.
Because it can be a pain to go and track down all those pins later, especially when you're putting out hundreds of and thousands of pins.
Sure. So if I was to get started on Pinterest, it would make sense for me to just go in, and I know this is going to sound silly. Do I just go in and just start adding and following people?
No.
So that was okay.
That's a waste of time.
Okay, that did sound silly.
Because she said most of the people you're not going to know, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, do I just go in there and just start adding people and hopefully they'll return? No. So how do I get followers?
It's a waste of time to do that. It's a complete waste of time. There's a lot of people who spend all their time just trying to follow people, and then if they don't follow you, then they unfollow them. And they go and find other people. Do they do the same thing? They even hook up these bots to do it for them. It's a complete waste of time.
I heard about the bots, yeah.
And with the followers, remember that they are a very small percentage of the total amount of people that see your pins. And the reason why I was suspicious of that is because I was seeing, not just in one of my Pinterest accounts, but in all of my client accounts that I'm doing management for their businesses. One in particular, I started from scratch in November. So it was a clean slate. Started it completely from scratch, November of 2017. There is less than 100 followers, but the average monthly viewers is 1.3 million.
Wow.
Now, tell me that that's coming from less than 100 followers. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
1.3 million monthly viewers, that is not coming from 100 people.
Yeah.
There's just no way that just doesn't pan out. So now it makes sense to me when they said, hey, don't focus on the followers. Focus on the keywords, because you're telling Pinterest who to show it to, and they show it far beyond your followers. Your followers do see it, but they distribute it out much, much farther than just your followers.
Oh.
And we didn't realize this for a while, but I began to kind of pick up on that, like, something's going on here. And once I started seeing that, I thought, I was doing the same thing too, making the whole mistake of, let me go follow a bunch of people, they'll follow me back, and just go through this whole thing. What it turned out is the people that you're trying to follow in hopes that they'll follow you back are not high quality people. Okay. They're not even doing anything on Pinterest. All they're doing is just following those that follow them back. They're just playing the game.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't know. I mean, this is my first time even talking about Pinterest, let alone using it. So that's good to know. Like I would have just went on there and just started adding everyone.
Yeah. That's why in many ways it's not really a social media site where it's all about your followers. It really is not about your followers on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's about your keywords. So if you want to get serious about it, your keywords is where the gold mine is in Pinterest. And that's how I can take something and go from 0 to 1.3 million average viewers per month in 6 months' time. And that's what I was able to do with one client account. And then I just start repeating that. And what I like to see is that we're doubling, if possible. I try to think outside the box and get creative on how we can do this, but double at least the average monthly viewers every single month. I think it's very important. Those keywords that are on your pin description are going to be on there forever, for years as well. So it could really snowball and pick up speed down the road as well. Mm-hmm. And it's just a more effective way of using the platform. So if anybody wants to get really good at something on Pinterest, it would be mastering keywords. That's even more important than the images, the pins that you're creating. You can still have a terrible pin image, but as long as you've got awesome keywords, people are going to find it. There's going to be a lot of people that will see it. They'll click through. They'll do something.
Okay. So it sounds like keyword first, and then image second.
Yes, that's the order that I would pay attention to things.
Okay.
Put your time and effort on.
Now, is it fair to say that the demographic on Pinterest is primarily women?
Yes, it's still mostly women, but there is a huge percentage of men that are on there. And I've had some direct sales through buyable pins from men.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And I think it's because when they're there, they're not going to be window shopping. They're taking action. They're ready to go. So it's kind of interesting. And I've found that if I send my pins over to the blog, and then from there they go to the store, it's even more effective, because you've taken cold traffic and you warmed them up a little bit, helping them get to know you. They found something, one of your articles, that's really great information.
They know you're a real person.
Yeah, they're more likely then to go to your store or wherever else you're going to send them to, Merch by Amazon. They're more likely now to buy, to purchase. So you've built that trust with them.
I got you.
And so you have to remember that your buyers are human beings, and you want to be able to relate to them somehow.
Sure. Glenn, you want to ask you a question? I'm about to cough up a dog here.
Let's talk, I guess, a little bit about running ads. Like if I wanted to run ads on some of my shirts, would you recommend maybe actually have, like you talked about, humans wearing the shirts? Let's say they're like, if it's a shirt about, a mom and kids or something, maybe they're actually wearing it. It looks good. People can see that, and then it takes them to Amazon. Or maybe just, I see some of these ads too, where like some of the pins look super long too. Like they look extremely noticeable than just the regular post.
Yep.
What about, I guess, either one, or your thought on either one of those?
Yeah, long pins are going to do best. So Pinterest came out and said 2 months ago that 600 by 900 pixels or 735 by 1102 pixels is best. We've still been making 800 by, what was it? We've been doing 800 by, I think it's 1500 is what we've still been making. And it's still been okay. It's not getting cut off in the feed. But if you want to be, no, 1200, sorry, it's 800 by 1200. If you want to be more conservative, just do the 735 by 1102. An easy way to make those is in Canva. They even have a Pinterest template base for you to start with. It's just, you can do it so fast and easy there. And just, we make about 5 pins per each product starting out. We don't want to do just one. We want to do 5. We want to change the pin to be a slight variation on every single one of those so that we can track it and see which ones are the ones that people are responding most to. Mm-hmm. From there, we're gonna look at those pins and say, was it the color? Was it the text that was changed on it? What was it about it that made it appealing? And then we're going to create more pins that are like that. So you're kind of doing a split testing as you go to see which of your pins has a great response. Sometimes it could just be the keywords. So you do have to take in your split testing and make one thing be the same and one thing be different so that you could really analyze that and find out. Now with sponsored pins, it's still about keywords. It's still about keywords. When you are running an ad campaign, you want to run a traffic campaign. Those are best for products. And in that traffic campaign, you need to use the keywords and you need to add in the keywords yourself so that Pinterest knows who exactly to show this pin to for your ad campaign. So that's extremely, extremely important that you do that. That's what's best for products. If it's for a blog post, that's different. You want to run that ad campaign just slightly differently, but most people are going to be running them to products. So it's the keywords that are very, very important there.
Okay.
In your sponsored pin campaigns. Also, your keywords in your pin description needs to pair with that because Pinterest puts all of that together. They take your keywords from off of your profile, your board, inside the pin itself, and the keywords that you put in the sponsored pin ad campaign, and they use all that information so they know exactly who to show it to. And if you're going to just go in and run a bunch of sponsored pins without doing your work of keywording up your profile, keyword up your boards, keyword up everything, then Pinterest, you're not giving them enough information.
Wow.
What's going to happen is your pins, you're paying for these pins and they're not going to do much for you.
So at that point, you're pretty much looking just very spammy then.
No, it just means that you're going to pay out more money and Pinterest doesn't know who to show it to.
Yeah.
So it's going to be paying money with no action happening.
So let's say I have a profile that's just on point. My keywords are great. I run an ad. Number one, how are the ads compared to Facebook? Because I ran Facebook ads and it doesn't do anything. And what are the conversions like? Are people seeing
if you do it right,
results?
If you do it right, you can do it for a lot less money than what you could on Facebook. Facebook, I mean, it was like $5 minimum. And as they go, I think they keep raising that, to make it where you got to pay out more and more and more for it to be somewhat effective. With Pinterest, you don't have to do what the default says in Pinterest. There's a special formula that I use to think about the price of the product and what is the conversion rate, and you do the math to figure that out. And now you know exactly how much per click that you want to set it for.
I got you.
And it's usually less than $1.
Wow.
Far less than $1. Whereas if you do the default, Pinterest is going to say it's like over $2 per click. And everyone looks at this and says, whoa, that's expensive. I can't afford this. That's just a default. You really need to think through the math formula.
Okay.
And you can get your clicks down way less than $1. And it can be very, very effective for you. So it depends on the price of your product. The more expensive the product, it might cost you a little bit more in clicks.
Mm-hmm.
But those can be great tools for conversions, and you can start your tracking your CTAs or your click-through rate, your CTRs that are happening there.
Okay. Let's talk about your course, because I think it'll help a lot of people. I'm sorry about my voice. But I am enrolled. Look, I'm gonna admit, one of the perks of having a podcast is I reach out to people like Teresa, and she gives me access to her course for free. Okay. However, I am utilizing it. I'm watching the videos. I'm still on your the Pinterest for business setup. That's what I'm currently watching now. Because look, Glenn, you know me, dude. I'm willing to try everything. And this is another thing that I'm going to take on here. Tell us about the courses, and you teach us everything about the ads and everything, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was a huge endeavor. So this was something that I don't know. I kind of fell into this. It wasn't planned for sure, but I was just looking for a way to solve a problem of how can I drive more traffic to my store. And I knew a long time ago, I knew about 3 years ago, that we can't just sit and rely on Amazon or any other marketplace that you have absolutely no control over. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So I started investigating Pinterest further and learning everything that I could, and making a ton of mistakes, a lot of them through it. But it's been good because it's really helped me to refine, what works and get a better understanding. So what happened was, I have coaching since I began, being asked to talk about it and teach them. And then it turned into, I was asked to do a webinar. This was a year ago, and pick a topic. I thought, well, I'm kind of tired of talking about these other things. I want to talk about Pinterest because nobody wants to talk about it. And I want to talk about it because I think it's something that we should pay attention to. So I did. And it was just a free webinar, and all kinds of people they responded to that like, wow, they had no idea. And they began asking, do you have a course? And I'm like, no, I don't. Maybe I should put something together. So then I began putting something together, and I thought, oh, how am I going to do this? Because Pinterest is like a monster. There's a lot that is involved with it. And I wasn't sure how I could organize it and put this thing together. So I ended up with one course, and the course, as I kept building it, just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, people started taking the course, and I started hearing the feedback from them, and their feedback was, okay, it's great, but now I'm completely overwhelmed. They had no idea all of the stuff that was involved. And so I started to think about that heavily, like, what can I do to make it less overwhelming? Because it was really, really good feedback. And I didn't want people to just quit and give up, because that's not the whole purpose of this. So I thought about it, and then I made the official decision this spring to move it over to a different platform. So it used to be housed on Facebook. That was great. It was just a way of testing it, seeing what would happen. Do people like it or not? And now it turns out, yes, that people really do have an interest and a need for this. So I needed to change it to a new platform. I started moving everything over, and what happened was I took one giant course and I split it down into 12 small courses.
I've noticed that, and they're reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Anywhere between 10 to like $20, I believe. But yeah, so you guys can purchase the one that you feel is best for you.
Right.
Yeah. So but yeah, no, I'm watching the videos as we speak, and I'm learning a lot. I mean, you put a lot of time and effort into these modules, and so I'm learning a lot. I want to put it to use once I graduate. and I'm really excited about trying to leverage I almost said Pinterest, because again, I think it's really important that we take control over our traffic on Amazon, because we don't control any of that, and I think it's about time that we do.
Yeah, and definitely take action. After each course, take action within that before you start the next one, because you're gonna get overwhelmed and realizing, oh wait, I didn't do anything. I better back up and do this first before I go on to the next step. So I was trying to organize it in a way where it's step by step by step, and sometimes that can be a little tricky for me to figure that out. But as I go, I get really, good at trying to organize that information in a way where we can digest it in the easiest and fastest way possible. So I don't like the videos to be too long. I love doing video teaching where it's very short and to the point, so that you can just get moving on it quickly and
Get.
Yes.
Come on, get to the next one.
So that you can do something and not have to sit and listen to an hour of rambling, right? There's a lot of them that's what it ends up being, and it's very frustrating when I could basically sum it up in 5 minutes. Here's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
You
did a really good job.
That's what needs to happen, because people need to just get what they need and then get going and take that action. Then I was asked in January, hey, what about for those of us that are doing merch by Amazon? And I thought, well, the whole thing applies. But then they were confused and said, well, it says a website and all these things to verify. And I thought, oh, yeah. So what I did was, with this new platform, is it allows me to take these small courses. I broke it down into small courses and organize it where you can have now a focus. And so if you have a Merch by Amazon focus, then you can select this bundle. And what will happen is you're only going to get the courses that you need.
For Merch by Amazon, I saw that.
Yes, you don't need the other stuff, so don't do it, because that's going to be a time waster.
And if you guys are interested in Shopify, you can choose a Shopify bundle, and that'll bring in all the videos that's relevant to Shopify.
Right.
No, I did see that.
I'm going to create another one here soon for WordPress. So for people who have WordPress blogs, websites, give you the bundle that has the videos that pertains just focused on that. This is just a way to help people focus, because that was the number one problem that I was hearing from the course members that they were having was, trying to focus and figure out, should I be doing this or not? I don't have a website. Should I be worried about that? It was in the course, Is that something that I need to do Pinterest? I thought, no, you don't have to have that to do Pinterest. But I understand where they're coming from. They needed to have focus and things organized in a way where they can keep moving forward and not get paralyzed, or feel as though they're leaving out a step somewhere, and they're truly not. It's not important if it doesn't apply to them. So that's something that I think is unique about this new platform, is it makes it a whole lot easier now to organize stuff so that people can be served in a way that is best for them. And I think that's what's most important for me, is that people can get what they need and exactly what they need.
And we will have, excuse me, we will have the link. Oh my gosh, we will have the link in the show notes. That way you guys can buy each course individually, or you can buy the bundle, like you said. Like if you want to do Shopify, you can buy the Shopify bundle, or the Merch by Amazon, or you can just purchase each course individually. They're straightforward and reasonably priced, in my opinion. Glenn, did you have any questions?
I guess just the last part. Anything about the Merch by Amazon package? I believe it's like 10 or 11 courses, and I guess anything that you want to say specifically that would target Merch by Amazon that they can look forward to if they want to decide to purchase it.
Yeah, so I just built that bundle last night.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
And one person went in and bought the bundle after an hour of setting it up. So I know then that tells me that must have helped by trying to organize it in that way. Otherwise, you're looking at all of these courses, you're like, where do I even begin? What do I need first? So, you know, one thing that I want to add is beginning a keyword database. And a lot of people said they had interest in this because they don't have time to sit and do the keyword research on Pinterest. So I thought, well, we could do that for you and update it periodically. And, you know, put it in a spreadsheet, and you can download the whole spreadsheet, set it up, and now you've got keywords ready to go for you to just get right into your pin descriptions. Or you might be able to get those keywords and think about how you want to title your boards using that information. So that's something that I'm going to work on and begin adding in as well, as long as that's something that people have an interest in. If not, then it's not worth, you know, putting the time into it. But the feedback I was hearing was, oh yes, having lists of keywords off of Pinterest through the research would be very valuable to them, because that's where you need to put your time and effort into, is the keywords.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry,
that might help. I was just going to say that might help a little bit. And that will be added in, and you'll see it if you log into your Thinkific account. You'll see it automatically, you know, added in, where you could share it with people anytime that new things are added. So there's a lot of plans here in the works for a lot of stuff. I've got some blueprints that I'm wanting to create. I've been working on a Shopify strategy, a Shopify Pinterest strategy, for a few months now, testing it. My VAs have been creating a lot of the stuff, and then I'm the one that keywords everything up inside of Pinterest, because I haven't taught them that yet. It's like that one valuable thing that's really hard to just train someone to do it really well, because it's probably the most important piece. So I've got a blueprint there of what I've been using so that I can make the Shopify store be essentially a central command center for all links. So if something should happen, maybe there's a broken link somewhere, it's much easier for you to go into your Shopify store and fix the link there than it is to go and fix it out on hundreds of thousands of pins.
Okay.
So that's how that solves that problem. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the traffic, and I want to leverage the traffic and the work that I'm doing. I'm not sending it directly to Amazon. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm doing is I'm being selfish. And I'm taking the Pinterest traffic and I'm moving it, I'm having it come to the store, and then from the store have it go over to Amazon, or some of it goes to Sunfrog, some of it goes to Redbubble, have it go wherever you want it to go. Now, if there should be a broken link, which happens with Merch by Amazon, there was a ton of broken links that were happening last January.
Mm-hmm.
If those broken links happen, all you have to do is go to one place, change the link out so it's fixed, and that's it. Really easy to keep track of.
That is super cool.
That's
super cool.
That's the strategy that I came up with about March and started executing that. So I'll write up a blueprint of what that's about, and the app that I'm using where I can use affiliate links.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all affiliate links that are in there.
So you're getting paid twice.
Yeah, you double dip on it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
To do that. I mean, so that's the strategy that I thought was going to be pretty cool, because once they're in the store, they're going to look around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if they don't buy that, they might look at something else and say, oh, this is cool. Yeah. I mean, why not take some of that traffic and make sure it goes to your place, where it hits your place first before you send them out somewhere else.
I tell you what, this has all been very informational and educational, because one of the things that I wanted to do was, and Glenn, I know you're going to shake your head when I say this, but one thing I want to do this year is try and start like an affiliate website. And I'm thinking, well, gosh darn it, well, Pinterest sounds like a good complement to running an affiliate website. So no, this is very informational, Teresa. I learned a lot. I'm going to continue watching the videos and the modules. Glenn, I'll give you access to my account. You don't have to give him an account, Teresa. I'll give him access to my account. He can watch the videos there. And again, guys, we'll have the link in the show notes. Teresa, thank you so much for being here. We learned so much. we'd love to hear about that blueprint once it's fully written up. So we'll love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I like to strategize. That's one of my things that I do for entertainment.
Well, awesome. That to me sounds like someone who's very successful. I like it.
The brain is always working, and I start thinking through this, and it just hits me. Like I start thinking in my head, and I see the whole thing, and I map it out from beginning to end in my head. And if it works in my head and I can map it out, then I write it down. A lot of people do the opposite. They write out everything. I can't do that.
I just try to
I
do
have
something.
to map it out in my head.
Yeah, I just try to do something. If it doesn't work, I just get frustrated. Yeah, I think that's awesome. But thanks again, Teresa. We'll be in touch, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds great.
Great show. Great interview. Look, my voice is gone, dude.
I know.
Let's just freaking end the show now. Do you have any closing comments?
No, I just want you to get rest.
Okay. So, guys, if you guys are interested, we'll have the link to her course in the show notes. Glenn, where can people find you?
Hustler Hacks on YouTube.
And just tag me on Facebook. I'll return your messages. Thanks, guys.
See you.